Welcome to Expose and Express Live. And here are your hosts, Jenny Umali, Rochi Disagan, and Burns Bayabo. Hello, beautiful people. It's Saturday once again. I'm Jenny Umali. I'm your host, and welcome to Expose and Express Live. And of course, say hi to my coach, Burns, over here. Hi, Burns. How are you?
I'm doing great. How's everybody doing?
Oh my God. I'm so excited because today is the month of February already. I know it's February 6th, 2021. Can you believe it? It's Valentine's month. It's the love month. And I know that every day is a love day for all of us. And that's for sure. But we want to make it extra special for all of you because, let's just use the power of love. Yes. Am I correct, Coach Burns? I
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I think it's time for us to use the power of love more than anything else. And this month is the best month for the love, for the energy of love. So, without further ado, I wanna introduce to you a very beautiful and interesting young lady. She is a marriage and family therapist, and as well a relationship coach. Yeah.
Hi.
Her specialization is focused on the dynamics of an unhealthy relationship. She'll get to the root causes of why certain aspects of your relationships are the way they are, and will specifically curate a solution for your case, a renewal of your sense of self, as she says.
That's
And also,
awesome.
with extensive success with past clients, she is able to utilize in order to help those who want to achieve their goals and attain success. A woman, her name is Brittany Rose Garden, a woman who urges to help those who want to achieve their goals and attain success, and reveals a roadmap for those to achieve so much more what they've ever imagined. Oh my goodness, that's very strong. And helps
Thank you.
those who want to have a healthy balance between the professional and personal relationship. Hello, Brittany.
Hi.
Oh, welcome. Thank you for gracing our show.
Oh my gosh, it is such an honor. Thank you so much for having me. And truly, truly, I'm just blessed. I feel so blessed, honestly. Thank
Well,
you.
you know what?
Thank you.
Honestly, Burns, and to all of you who's watching right now, the first time I saw her website, and I told her this a while ago. It's so beautiful. I mean, it's so refreshing, and
Mhm.
her smile is so contagious. And I receive a lot of referrals because I was looking for a relationship coach to be one of our guests here tonight.
Ah.
And I saw her, and I'm like, this is it. She owns the crown. So, Brittany, how are you? And where are you now? Where are you now?
Oh, I live in Rhode Island, on the East Coast of the United States. So a little bit further away from you guys. We're on opposite coasts.
Wow, this is amazing. So, wait, what is your story behind your success as a relationship coach? I really intend not to check your website and read everything because I want to hear you talk about this. So again, what is your story behind your success as a relationship coach?
Yeah, truly, I would say I feel like I've just been kind of blessed with this deeper intuition. I have this ability to kind of see whenever my clients are sharing their relationship stories, I can paint the picture visually in my mind. And it helps me kind of sort through and organize and kind of piece together the missing pieces that they may be struggling with. So that way I can come back to them with a more cohesive, organized plan to help them get to where they need to go. So I would say it's really my intuition, my connection to God. You know, the way that I worship God and everything like that has really, really just been the cornerstone to how I'm able to be such a successful coach.
Wow. So another
Awesome.
thing is that I'm really interested because it's not easy. It's not easy to be a coach, right?
Yeah.
Especially a relationship coach.
Mhm.
Yes, because you're dealing with different types of relationships. Yeah,
Yeah.
it won't like being in a husband and wife relationship or something like that. It's more of like it's expanding, right? How do you you're very young. You're very young. Can I mention
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
you're 23 years old,
Mhm.
and just like you said, you've been a therapist for 10 years,
Mhm.
and as a relationship coach, because I'm 44, turning 45 this March, and I really experienced a lot in life.
Excuse me.
That's
Sorry about
you.
that.
Bless you.
So, I've really experienced a lot in life. So, where do you get your wisdom at all? Did
Yeah.
you encounter a very, unwanted experience in the past? And then you just woke up one day, said that, I'm going to be a strong woman. I'm going to get out of this relationship and move on and then help women like me who suffered in this certain situation. Can you tell me your experience?
Oh, how much time do you have? Um, yeah, so it's interesting. This career chose me, right? It wasn't necessarily what I thought I was going to be doing. I thought I was going to be a physician, and I went to medical. Well, I didn't go to medical school, but I was pre med, and I applied to medical school and like was on that track. And then I was like, something doesn't feel right in my spirit. I need to go this other way. And the reason is because I am a product of a very unhealthy, like kind of toxic family system. And then I have, because of that, because of what I learned growing up and what I was modeled and what I saw, I also encountered those in my interpersonal relationships, oftentimes with romantic partners, also with bosses and friends and roommates. So there were several different experiences that allowed me to see more clearly what healthy versus unhealthy healthy looks like. I have this belief that we are exposed to contrast so that we know exactly what we really, really desire and what we really, really want. And so I was given a lot of contrast in the early early stages of my life that allowed me, I think, to have a lot of wisdom to serve like a populate. Like I think we kind of were talking about this too earlier. Is like some of my clients have been in their 60s, and like we're talking like married couples that I've worked with who've been married for 20-25 years, and they come to see me, and it's like, okay, guys, are you ready? Buckle up. I may look young, but I really got some stuff for you. And it's because of my experience. It's because of my connection to my intuition and to God is really where the wisdom comes from. So,
Wow, thank you for that. That's a
yeah.
good one. Burns?
Oh, well, I was waiting for
For
Rochi,
the
which
cue?
who is not here. I'm sorry. Um, so I'm curious. In your experience, what are the most common marriage issues that come up that you help, couples with? And sometimes, do you have instances where you think that, oh, this relationship is they can't reconcile?
Irreconcilable. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So to me, the majority of relationship problems stems from communication or lack thereof it. There is something that is unspoken that is going on between the couple or the partners or whatever that they just don't feel safe to share. They don't feel like they have a space to share. And whenever I encounter that, it's not, to me, it's not easy, but it's just like, it's very simple. It's a very simple problem that we have to kind of unpack and create that safety and create that vulnerability so that the couple can learn how to express themselves in a more healthy way. So most relationship struggles come from communication issues, right? So that's just like the foundation, I would say. And
Uh-huh.
then, of course, I think that there are irreconcilable relationships that I'm presented with. I will say that my track record is pretty high, but when I do encounter some of those relationships, it is because one person was forced to come to therapy or to come to me as a coach, a relationship coach, so most of the time when that happens, if there's only one person who's invested in this experience, then there's not going to be really a great prognosis. I'll do my best, but typically what happens at that point, one of the people will leave, and then I'll just start, it'll be individual counseling,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is very interesting. I'm actually curious. So what do you do if someone walks out?
Oh. It hasn't happened. So I don't know what it is. Again, I think there's just something I've been blessed with. It's nothing that I think is my doing by any means, but I really haven't had that happen too often. Because I really, really, really think it's so important for me to create safety for both people. And I want both of them to feel heard. I want both of them to feel valuable and valid in my sessions. So I kind of command this kind of presence. Like, we create this expectation that whatever happens here, like, we're going to hold space for it and allow it. And then you guys need, we can process it later, kind of thing. But I don't remember anybody ever walking out on me, if I'm honest.
Congratulations.
Yeah, maybe teenagers, like when I'm doing, and I know we're going to talk about family counseling later on, but like when I work with teenagers, like they walk out, but
Yeah.
So with regards to families, what's the most common thing, like common issue that arises?
Yeah, no. So with family, I would say the most common thing is that it's almost like there's a misstep. And I would say most of the time, one person is being identified as like the identified patient or the problem. And truth be told, they're not the problem. The whole family system is kind of disrupted. And so that would be the most. So like, we'll say that, oh, my teenager doesn't listen to me, so like we all need to go to family counseling, and then it's like, well, it's not because of that. It's not because they're not listening to you. It's because you aren't really allowing them to speak. You don't really care what they have to say. You're just missing their feelings. So, we kind of we unravel or unpack what the actual issue is besides the problem child or the problem person. So that's what happens in family counseling. There's like a problem person that creates that brings.
Yeah, it takes two to tango, basically.
Well, I mean, it's the whole system, right? Like relationships take more than one person to be in, right?
Yeah. So I actually get a
Thank you.
personal message. Okay. So this person don't want to post it on a comment box, but I receive a message asking like, what if you and your partner is already like, you're okay, but there's something between the two of you that's already like fallen out. So she's asking me, is uh will she keeps on talking to to her partner about what she wants, while this person is not really communicating very well, so this person is not really talking about how he feels. So like you said about one way, so what she's asking me is that, is she still going to continue pursuing working on the relationship and talk to this guy so she can fix it.
Yeah.
So what can you say about that?
Yeah, no, I get this question a lot. It's very common. It's very common in my line of work, especially because I mainly work with people who are in unhealthy dynamics. And when you're in an unhealthy dynamic, it's kind of one-sided, or it feels one-sided. One person is putting more effort in than the other.
Yeah.
So what I would say to her is like, girl, know your worth. If your partner is not reciprocating or not willing to meet you halfway, at least meet you a quarter of the way and just put in a little bit more effort, then at that point you probably have said enough. And now it's time for you to actually to mirror what you're saying with your actions. So to walk the walk. And that's actually the harder thing to do, is to actually like, I'm going to leave if you don't do X, Y, and Z. And then they don't do X, Y, and Z. And then now you're like, okay, shoot, I actually have to leave, so standing your ground and actually going through with the consequence of them not reciprocating your affection or your love or even the communication. So, like, I'm sorry, I know it's so painful, but what I've seen happen often is that, and this is not a guarantee, but this happens often, is that if you choose yourself first, if you make yourself a priority first, and you leave the relationship or you choose to kind of go on a different path, you might trigger your partner's
Yeah.
healing. And so then they'll start to like, oh my goodness, I should have been a better person, a better partner. Let me try to work on this. And then that might trigger it. So good
Wow.
luck. Hopefully that answered your question. Please let me know if it did.
You know what? I totally agree with you, because I do have also some students and clients who's going through rough times in their relationships, and I'm not per se a relationship coach, but I also manage to. I'm a general coach.
Yeah.
I think I'm a general coach.
You have the tools. It's yeah.
You are a life coach.
Yeah,
So
I am a life
that's
coach.
included in that.
I'm a healer and I'm a life coach. So, um, you're right about that, because that's what I told her. I told her to. I think it's time for you to pause and look at the bigger picture, because what's happening here is you're the one who keeps on pursuing. You're the one who keeps on, like, you're basically basically running after this person. And so I told her, you have to pause and breathe, and let's work on your self-love, let's work on your self-care, self-respect. And then
Totally.
we did it, and then they're back together.
Yeah. Yeah. And that works. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's
Yeah.
not, sometimes you do the work and then you go back into your old ways. But I feel like everyone is you are your own judge and jury. You are your own guide. Like, we can help support you, but like, you're the one who knows whether or not it's time to leave a situation. And so just trust yourself.
Okay, so this is another follow-up question. Okay, so she said that he's not really the type of person who expresses feelings and who talks a lot. So, were you suggesting that, like you said, self-love first? So, are you suggesting that
Ooh.
go first and leave the person, and then come back when the guy's ready to talk to her about his feelings as well?
Well, so I have it's hard to discern. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Is that a good advice, like to tell her that leave her alone first, and then you
Is it
move
a her or a him? I'm confused
on?
already.
Her. So my friend is her. She's asking, and so she wanted to. The boyfriend is not the type who speaks her feelings or speaks his truth.
Yeah.
So she's asking, is it okay if she's going to just leave him alone? So she'll just gonna go and move on, break up.
Yeah.
Basically, yes, break up with him.
Yeah. Well, so kind of going back to what I said, is like, it's really important for her to discern whether or not that's where she's at, if that's what she's ready for. But so a couple things you could try. You could try writing, like
That's what I
writing
was
out your
gonna-
feelings. Yeah, writing out your feelings, asking or inviting your partner to write out his feelings as well, to see if you can seeing if it's just like a verbal thing that's really difficult, because maybe if it's written, it would be easier for him to both
Yes.
hear and listen and also share. But if that doesn't work out, then I think another thing you probably want to discern before you decide to just like break up is like, well, what do you want out of a relationship? If he's unable to communicate his feelings, is that something that you need? Is that something that you really want and desire? Because if it isn't, well, then fine, stay in the relationship, no harm, no foul. But if it is, then now it's maybe you're healing so well, you're doing such a good job in your own journey, that maybe you're calling in a different type of partner. And that should be exciting and good. Because one of the things I'll tell all my clients is, if you love this person as they are right now, and you're outgrowing them because you're healing so well, can you imagine what the universe has in store for you? Can you imagine what's coming down the pipeline once you release this relationship that is no longer aligned with you, and you start aligning with what is actually called, what you're calling in? Can you imagine? And it feels so exciting and so good. In fact, I even have chills a little bit. I don't know why. Spirit speaking through me, I guess. So, hopefully that helped.
Well, that's well, I guess
That's
she's
actually
watching.
a very excellent advice. Being able to
Huh?
write down, I think like you should use all resources first before deciding on the worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
true. But well, being in that relationship when one is so quiet and one is very talkative and active and free to express herself, and the other one is just like really shut up. And I think we need to get to the root of the issues, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
definitely that.
okay, I'm really curious. Before Burns asks question again, I'm really curious. How do you assess a situation between couples or family members that come to you for counseling? Is it
Hmm.
like a different situation, then different approach, or you have a magic book where where the answer
The book. Yeah.
is yeah?
I have a
You have
magic.
a magic book.
Yeah. Of
You
course. Of
have
course
a
I do.
magic book.
Of course I do.
I
Um,
have a magic wand.
can I take that, please? I'll take that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, so the way that I was both taught and just kind of adopted in my practice was, so when I meet a couple, I initially do like a quick assessment on whoever's calling, right? Whoever's calling to come see me first.
Mhm.
And then I ask them to, when their partner comes, that I will do separate sessions. So I'll do a session with one person in the couple or one family member, and then the other person. So when it's a couple situation, it's two people, right? And I have two separate sessions, and then we come back together and we continue the journey that way. Because that way they both feel very heard, they both feel understood, they both realize that I'm on their side.
Yeah.
Because in a relationship dynamic, it's really important to identify to my clients that I'm here for your relationship. I am your couples coach. I'm not your individual, like, secret holder. I'm not your, I'm not the person who's gonna, like, like play tit for tat. That's not who I am. I'm here for you as a unit and what your
Mhm.
unit wants as goals. When it comes to a family, though, typically I will see like one parent or something like that. And then whoever they identify as the problem, I'll see them individually so that they have a space to have a voice independent and they feel that they have a teammate against, not against, but inside of the family sessions. And then I'll bring everybody back together. So it is this very, I would say a lot of it is intuitively based, based on
Mhm.
what's
Yeah.
going on. I don't want to, if it's a child, I don't want to make them feel scared or sad or anything like that. That's really important to create that safety. And then also with couples, like, just making sure that they know that I'm for both of them. I'm not just for whoever called,
Yeah.
so
Do
I
you
hope that answered your question.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
yes,
awesome.
it does, honestly. Like, but do you still get triggered like for with a certain situation?
Do I
What?
get triggered?
Yeah, because like something happened in the past, but do
Yeah.
you get affected and then you get triggered by a certain situation?
Yeah. So, since I've been doing this now for a while, I've gotten really strong about my energetic boundaries.
Yeah.
And I make sure that I do like a lot of energetic techniques, whether it's EFT or the zipper or like completely like body shakes or, whatever I need to do to kind of shake the energy off.
Mhm.
After each session or before each session, I have a really strong like meditation, spiritual practice that I like kind of, so there are these energetic spiritual sort of practices that I think help me not take on all that energy and get as triggered because
Yeah.
and if I do, then I just tell myself, I'm like, that belongs to them, this belongs to me,
Yes.
like I give them back their power, I take back my power, like I just
Yes.
do these things during the session to keep the energy the boundaries held.
Yeah,
Yes. I
that's
really like
that's
that.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Burns and I we're just actually talking about the spiritual daily practice because
Mm,
all of us here are coaches, right? So it's not easy to really work on someone, especially like they have different issues.
right.
Sometimes they would come to me and they want a business coaching, and then next thing you knew, we're healing, we're doing life
Right.
coaching.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
I experienced a lot of those things and then do the mindset coaching. So what I did now in my program is that I put them all together in one box. So
Hmm.
healing first, then life coaching, and then before the business coaching.
Yeah. So important.
Yeah.
So
So
important.
I have a question to Burns as well. Burns, what is the very most challenging experience that you've had with your clients in terms of like with coaching? Because you're also a mindset coach and a life coach, besides from being a business coach. So what's the most challenging experience that you have with your clients?
For me, the challenge would be the client is not taking the coaching seriously and not really taking action, not doing the work. So that's really the challenge to make them do that. I'm like, I can't make it. I mean, I can't do it for them. They have to want it for themselves. So
Mhm.
that's the challenge for me. Like, they're throwing out their money out the window if they're not taking action and actually doing the work themselves. So
Yeah,
I'm laying out the plans for them for success.
Mm.
You know,
they still need to work, right?
yeah, yeah. There's work to be done. It's like, okay, I'm a big basketball fan, and so you know, Coach Kerr, Steve Kerr, is a great coach, but he can't shoot the ball out there. You know, it's the team that has to do it. It's the players who have to,
True.
execute the plan to put the ball in the hoop. So
Yeah. Well, that's a very good example.
yeah,
Mhm.
A very good example. That actually, that question also goes to you, Brittany. So, do you is it very challenging? Like, right? As a coach, when you see your client, like I do have clients, they're just gonna pay me, and then they're gonna live, and then they're like, I'm okay, I'm already okay. They're what they want from me, and then they're just gonna leave and not do the works anymore. And sometimes
Yeah.
they so very addicted to Reiki healing and life coaching. So every morning, they're gonna talk to me about their lives, and I'm like a daily journal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
did you have any experience like that, especially with like a couple, like a relationship? Because these are two people you're working
Yeah.
with, not just one.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. So I would say my biggest challenge personally is because I come from, so a little bit about my background. Like I come from a toxic, like narcissistic kind of family system from my
Mhm,
personal, I'm a child of a narcissist. So part of my personality is
mhm,
to people please and overgive. And
mhm,
so I find that, and it doesn't happen as much anymore, but it definitely has been a lot of growing pains,
mhm,
to try not to overdo it with my couples or try to over please both of them. Because,
mhm.
at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about pleasing them. It's about getting them the results that they want. So
Yes.
that has been probably my biggest hurdle. I would say the other stuff doesn't really happen as much anymore because I'm really, really picky about who I choose to work with. Not that you aren't, because this happens to all of us. I know this, but
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
like very picky. Like I'm like, oh, sorry. Well, fine. If you don't want to, you're like, sure. If you want to pay me that much, like I'm not going to come chasing after you. I don't care.
Yes.
This is your journey.
I know, right?
So it's kind of like this weird juxtaposition where I want to overgive, but then if they aren't even showing up, I'm like, okay. Like, does that make sense? I don't even know if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. It makes sense.
Yes,
Totally
yes,
does.
it does make sense. Yes, you're right about like choosing your clients and like just boundaries. Like we have to have boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And with me, when I feel that my students or my clients is not doing the work, I pause. I really
Mm-hmm.
talk to them, and I talk to them and tell them that if you're not ready for this, we can wait another week or two, and then after this, I cannot refund you the money or the investment that you have given me, but you need to do the work. That's it.
Right.
And then be like, oh my God, that's tough love.
Yeah. It's exactly
Yeah,
what they needed to hear.
yeah. Because sometimes, like, if they know they can easily take, their investment back, then they're not getting anywhere. There's
Right.
no commitment on their part to really do.
Oh, did it freeze on your end too?
Yeah.
You're just making sure.
I'm looking at the live view, And there you go, you're back.
Yes, sorry about that. For some reason, I don't know. I upgraded our modem and router, and it's Jenny is getting good signal, but for some reason I am not.
It's okay. But yeah, so you were saying, Burns, you were saying.
Uh, I lost my train of thought suddenly. I had two things that I wanted to say, and this stupid like internet got me distracted. So you guys go first, and I will
Well, I
think
think,
back, try to recall what I was trying to say.
yeah, well, I think you have a question for Brittany.
Oh yeah, yeah. So with because I know like having like doing work and making relationship works like you know you fixing people's relationships. So how does that like make you feel when oh they come back to you and actually say oh my god it worked, you know, like how does that make you feel, and like how do you reward yourself
Oh,
when things actually like work out for the best.
yeah, that's a beautiful question. So it's funny because I actually just had this moment with a client 2 days ago, and I'm trying my best to be more like a better receiver, right? So I'm so good about just like, oh, thank you, I'm excited, cool. Like, what do we do next? Kind of thing, like, what's next? Kind of thing. I don't really sit in the back that, like, wow, I'm actually helping people out. I'm actually changing people's lives, like
Mhm,
at this very deep level.
mhm.
And what a gift and what a blessing that is. And I feel so like I can't even explain it. Like, I'm almost on the verge of tears right now. Like, it's just
Oh,
so incredible to be given this opportunity to be like, to me, I feel like I help people transmute their pain
yeah,
into, like, you know, just more love, whatever that means for them. And so to be that person that kind of walks through that
yeah,
deep dark journey with them, to lift them up and helps, you know, to see them in a way that just like makes them feel connected to someone or something, means everything to me. It means everything. That's why I do this work. And so, yes, whenever a couple comes back to me and they're like, we are recommitting our vows, or like, we are so in love again, like that, what we worked on with you, and, you know, like our relationship, I thought it was going to be, I thought it was gone. And you
yeah.
helped us bring it back. Like, I just can't even, you know, like, so when that happens, it's the world. And how do I reward myself? Again, I'm trying to be better about receiving, and just like and deepening my gratitude for what's going, like how I help people. So I don't have like a real reward practice. I'm working on it.
No,
You know,
but
maybe it's
it's
better.
good.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I totally feel you. Like, yeah, the tears of joy.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you receive like even like flowers. Actually, like I always tell this to my group, and you know, to all the people. I tell them that every time I wake up in the morning, my thoughts would always be, God, who how do you want me to glorify you today?
Mm.
Like, and then I'm gonna ask myself, how many people, or at night, I'll count the people that I was able to help with.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's
Every night,
beautiful.
I'm like, okay, so I talked to 4 people. So for me, a call connection, a breakthrough call, or even if they signed up, if they not signed up, even if they work for me, even if they hire me, for me, it's a win-win situation all the time. I was able to help them. And so I think that's also one of the biggest mindset that I was able to, um, like, to use like the mantra every night, that yes, I am looking forward. If it's only Saturday, and then Sunday comes, it's our day off, and I'm like, is it Monday yet? Is it Monday yet?
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I'm always looking forward. So, like I said, it's always a win-win situation for me. And I understand where you're coming from, receiving all these beautiful flowers in front of me to from my students. It's just an amazing reward itself.
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming sometimes, you know, because it's like
Yes.
you just are doing what you feel called and led to do, and then people are like beyond just paying you with that energetic exchange. They're also giving gifts and like so much gratitude and thanks. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, you know, so I love
No.
it. Like, it's incredible.
And yeah, and I actually, with the review and testimonials that I got from all these beautiful people in my life, that, like I told them, you're not, I did not just help you here, you helped me too. And
Mm-hmm.
with your reviews and with your testimonials, you are helping other people too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're a
Totally.
living testimonial that you're sharing these beautiful words because you believe in the power of healing, believe in the power of coaches like us, right? That
Yeah.
you need to really ask for help.
Yeah.
You know, do
So
not.
I have one thing. If you were to advise, like, do you find like there's a variance in relationships with different generations, or is it um almost, I mean, mostly the same?
Yeah. Yes. Totally. Sorry, I didn't mean, did you
No,
get
no,
the
no. That's it. You understood my question right away.
Oh my gosh, yeah, totally. So, yes, definitely different relationships for different generations. I have to be very mindful of who I'm talking to, like my audience, right? So, I thankfully have had a lot of experience with a wide variety of different types of people that whenever I do see a relationship, I really just focus on what they want, and I ask about what their belief systems are, what their spiritual practices are, how they like feel connected to just what, well, really a lot of my couples, I will ask them, what are your expectations for marriage, or what are your expectations for partnership? Because when I can understand that, then it makes it very clear to me where they are, like as far as both generationally, or are they on the same page? Because I would say that a lot of people, my age and definitely younger, are really, really a lot more fluid, a lot more flow. It's not very strictly like monogamous anymore. It's kind of, it's just different, and it's beautiful too in its own right. And so I have to be very mindful of like, well, what are your goals? Like, what do you feel like you want? What's aligning with your spirit and your soul? And what are your expectations for partnership? Because if your expectation for partnership is being polyamorous, and your partner wants to be monogamous, well, then we got some problems. We got some, right? Uh, and that is like, it's really, I love that you asked that question, because it is true. It's very important, especially right now, because things have shifted a lot
Yeah.
since, the 50s or whatever.
Yeah.
I do have another question. This is gonna be funny. So, what do you do when your when your clients are like bickering and fighting, like in front of you?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I
What
look
do
at them. Oh, I say, stop it. Stop.
Take your whip out and
Yeah. I just have no idea. This is not helpful. Can we stop, please? And I'm very serious. And then, of course, I smile and I'm like, okay, we're good, right? We're cool. Okay. Or like sometimes, because we set up, it's very important in the very beginning, especially now that everything's so virtual, right? So it's easy to talk over everybody. It's easy to talk over people, right?
Mm.
So we just set up expectations in the very beginning. We'll wait until the other person finishes their thought before you respond. If I can see, because I'll watch, like if I can see that the other person's about to respond, I'll just be like, wait, wait a second, just give it a second, and so I don't really have to use my stern looks or like stop it very often. Typically, I'll just be like, okay, hang on. We're coming to you next, kind of thing. But yeah, that happens all the time. But that's why I love couples work. I love it. It's like a reality TV show unfolding right in front of my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like? Do you like sometimes feel like, oops, awkward?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Especially when sex gets brought up. So obviously in relationships, couples coaching, especially, like we talk about sex because it's important.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when sex comes up, and it can be very and I'm reading the room, because I've heard it all, but like when I'm reading the body language of,
Mhm.
especially with the male female dynamic.
I like it this way, and I like it this way.
Well, it's more about, I don't want to make any female, that is funny, like, but I don't want to ever make any female client that comes to me feel uncomfortable. because, we're talking about sex. So I kind of allow them to lead that conversation. But there are times where it's like, oh, this is awkward.
Yeah. Okay, we have a question.
TMI.
Yeah. Yeah, I have more questions, honestly.
I'm here
There's
for it.
so Marianne Ball is watching right now. So I have a question for Brittany. What advice can you give to any couple in a relationship to stay together and last longer, especially in a married couple? Do you really have to be committed to each other or what?
Oh, okay.
What the
Or
Oh,
what?
vague. Hi, Marianne. Question. So this question's it's a little vague because I'm not quite sure exactly what you're asking. So, do you have to stay committed? Well, I think that that's your choice. You get to choose whether or not that's what you want to do. But if you want to have a long and healthy relationship, like vulnerability, really great communication, because if you have great communication, you guys can discuss opening up your relationship a little bit more. You can discuss like doing things in a more like different sexy stuff, that you want to try, or like different travel experiences. Like if you have good communication, you can do anything really.
Mhm.
And then vulnerability is super important as well. So, and trust and respect. I find that especially I don't know what the dynamic is for your relationship, but if it is a heterosexual male female relationship, then men, or just men in general, tend to feel like if they don't have respect, that's what causes a lot of the disconnection in the relationship. So just being respectful of each other, honoring each other, trusting one another, and just open communication, you can have a long, beautiful marriage. I mean, there'll
Yeah.
be times where things won't feel as connected, and that's okay. Just know that it won't last forever as long as you work on those things.
That's right.
I
That's a
think
good.
what I've learned also is to let go of the little things.
Yeah.
Don't
Don't sweat that.
dwell too much on like the little things. Just if you know you can't win, just let it go.
Well, I would say, and I'm not trying to coach you, but that's a little passive aggressive. So what I would do instead, or it's actually really passive, what I would do instead is that if it's the little things that are causing problems, they add up. And we know that this happens, right? They just
Yeah.
compound and they compound. So instead of just dismissing them, just sharing, like being very specific about what the thing is that you would like to change and what that change would look like. A lot of times we'll say, and I see this happen all the time in relationships, we're like, I just wish you were more thoughtful. And your partner's like, well, what the heck does that mean? What does thoughtfulness mean? What does that mean? And so if you're like, I wish you would actually come home and say, come home, give me a hug, and kiss me on my forehead every time you come home, or whatever. You're just like, you give a specific directive. And when you can do that, then it is so much more smooth, and you can choose your battles in a healthier way.
Well, Bongay Maloy said, choose your battles. Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you, guy.
coming from a very beautiful woman who's still in love with her
You
husband.
nailed it on the head.
Aww.
Hi, Bongay. Nice. Well, you know what? There's a lot of like comments that we receive here, but for some reason we couldn't show it here on
It's not showing up.
StreamYard. Yeah, for some reason. But yeah, so that's a good one. I really appreciate you expressing the truth about you being a coach, because no, nothing can stop me right now, but this is what I need to tell you. And this is how it works. Right? This is how it works. Not to coach
Sorry.
you. So Marian said, thanks for your advice. Healthy relationship and mutual respect, that helps. Did you mention mutual respect?
Yeah, I did.
That's right. That's
Definitely.
right.
Yeah.
I'm just kissing her. I know her.
Oh.
Okay. So I do have a question. I don't know. I don't know about you, Burns, but are you writing down some questions that you like to ask? Because I do.
You are.
This is so
I
fun.
do. Okay. So I'm very curious about this. Do you apply your professional approach to your own relationship?
Is
Yeah.
your is your significant other like watching you right now?
He's not watching me right now, but I'm sure he'd be like, "Come on over here, tell them what to do." Uh, yeah, I mean, yes and no, right? Like if I'm like completely honest, of course I'm human, so I get triggered. And so when we are in relationship, like I can't be my own coach, right? So I'm
Yes.
too close to the
True.
fire, right?
Yes.
However, I've learned very early on from all those toxic relationships I've been a part of, about what my boundaries are, what I will tolerate, how I like to express myself. And my favorite go to is being curious. So
Mm,
instead of like attacking my partner for something that I'm like, what are you doing that for? Which is
mm,
Brittany. She used to do that. Now I'm just like, oh, I'm curious about why you chose to do this. I'd like to learn a little bit more about it. So if I approach things with curiosity, then it gives him the space and the freedom to meet me halfway
yeah.
versus getting defensive, because it doesn't, if he gets defensive, neither of us wins. And
Yeah.
I'm more expressive than, kind of like the woman who asked the question earlier. I'm a
Yeah.
little bit more expressive than my husband, and he's a lot more internal, and he processes it internally. So I have to make sure that I give him that space so that he can do that, or else we have a lot of tension. But we've been together, I mean, not like for an eternity, but 4.5 years, and we've had to learn how to get to the space
Yeah.
that we're at now. So hopefully
I
that
could,
answers your question. Yes or no?
I could just imagine like being in a relationship with a relationship
No.
coach. I'd probably be
Poor
so
guy.
like, oh my God, I have to choose my words. Like, is this going to be correct? Is this going to be
Oh
good for
my God. And
me?
sometimes I just don't choose my words and I just pop off,
Yeah.
and it
No,
doesn't do
like,
any of us favors.
is
Hey, you're
he
human.
like, is he afraid to like sometimes like, oh no, he knows the answer? Or no,
I mean,
he's gonna coach me with this.
I think I would be naive if I said no. I definitely think that there are parts of him that are
Yeah.
like, oh, I want, kind of like what she said earlier, choose your battles. I think he just chooses his battles with me
Yes,
because he knows which ones he'll win and which ones he will not win.
Yeah.
that's right.
All right.
Okay, so,
Bongga
yeah,
Oh, that's
said,
beautiful. 39 years.
Burns, Burns, can you read this, please?
hi there, 39 years married to the same man this year. Happy anniversary. But
Yeah.
lots of ups
Woo!
and downs, trial and errors. We have been there and done it all. Now it's relaxing time and the love is deeper than before.
Oh,
Ah, love
My
that,
so
God.
guy.
beautiful.
I'm happy for you.
That's so
Oh,
beautiful.
congratulations.
Yeah. So, how did you make your marriage work? Let me know. I'm trying to make it to 39 years too, girl. Please let me know.
That's awesome.
But I guess, seriously, the part of, there's going to be a lot of like bickering there. Yeah, a lot of,
Hey, I'm
yeah,
guilty of that.
a lot of like so many stuff. It's a journey together, right? So
Mm.
if there's one like magical or major advice that you can give to a couple,
Mm.
what would that be?
Okay. Well, coming after seeing her being married for 39 years, I'm like, am I qualified for this? I don't know. But based on my experience, kind of like what I said earlier, like if you can nail down communication, if you can find the tools to express yourself and feel safe and feel heard and allow your partner to hear you, and to actually, no, this is actually even more important. Most communication problems stem from not listening. If you're not a good listener, and that is where the communication kind of goes amiss. So become a better listener, learn how to share your thoughts and your feelings in a healthy way.
Mhm.
And I guarantee that you will be able to make it through the storms of life, and you'll be able to weather the storms. So that would be my advice.
That's
That's a
awesome.
good one. So, did you ever experience like a very challenging situation between you and your husband before that
Yeah.
you thought of telling yourself that, okay, I'm human, I'm Brittany, I'm this is my husband or this is my boyfriend, but I'm gonna this the professional relationship coach will take over. I'm gonna wear that professional relationship coach coat. So, do
Hmm.
you have any experience where you really have to fight for just like what is right for you as a person, and then here you are a very professional
Yeah,
relationship. Can you
yeah.
tell us about that?
Yeah, so I won't go into the specifics of the event or anything like that, but
Yeah.
I would say that even it was like right at the beginning of 2020, right? So even before everything happened with the pandemic that caused like a whole other like extraordinary amount of, actually for us, we were good because he still went to work. I didn't have to see him all the time. Our lives didn't change as much. But like at the very beginning of 2020, we were met with one of our deepest fears and some of our challenges and some of our abandonment issues. And at that point in time, we hadn't gotten married yet. So there was this moment where I had to decide, like, okay, am I choosing myself in this? Am I giving him the space that he needs in order to show up as the man that I know he is? Am I showing up as the woman that is prepared to be married to this man? Am I showing up as the woman that I need to be for him? And I really had to kind of wear all hats. I had to wear the lover. I had to wear the coach. I had to wear the mom. I had to wear like, all these different hats in order to get through that situation. And I think the most beautiful thing happened. It just grew our love. And kind of to her point, these trials by fire is the refinement period that creates deeper levels of intimacy. And I am actually really, really grateful for what we went through because it made us so much stronger. It helped us get through COVID. And I know we're still in it, but like it really helped us get through that really dark period of the initial quarantine, together.
Yeah. Well,
That's awesome.
talking about the pandemic and the COVID, you're stuck two together in one house, right? Like, I've met a lot of like people talking about like, oh my God, I'm so not used to this. He's always like in front of my face, and I can't breathe anymore. And then another friend of ours, he's a man, and he's like, oh my God, she's like everywhere. She's talking to her friends on the phone forever. So
Totally, totally.
need to adjust, right? But
Hmm.
come to think of it, sometimes when we see changes in our partner, that's when because that's unfamiliar energy, right?
Hmm.
Oh, I thought I already know you, but then here you are. I'm seeing more of you. Yeah.
Yes, yes. That's such a good point. It's so true because a lot of people during this time think, and I truly believe the reason why Eric and I didn't have as many problems, my husband, is because he is an essential worker. So he was going to work still. I work from home. So our lives in the daily didn't really change that much. Now,
Oh,
my clientele, like, obviously skyrocketed because a lot of people
yes.
were struggling because they were seeing sides of their partner through a period of stress that did not end,
Yeah.
and it's lasted so long on for so many different like creating so much instability in so many different areas of life and living that people just were not even like, no one had ever experienced anything like this before in our generation. So we were just like, everybody's just trying to figure it out together. And you were really seeing how people handle their stress for better or for worse.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yes, to your
For
point,
better,
very
for
true.
worse.
Yeah, I mean,
I know. I know. Okay, so Bonggai said it's really a journey, and you have to be willing to travel on it together and agree to disagree.
Oh my
yes,
God, you are so full of wisdom, Bongga.
yes, seriously. Do you need a job?
I
You're
love
traveling,
it.
right? But you know what? Do you really believe in this saying, agree to disagree?
Oh yeah.
I do. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, 100%. I because I think that it's important to have differences. That's why relationships becomes are so beautiful because we're all coming from different experiences, different life perspectives, and it's okay to disagree. I think what's a problem is when it's like, no, you have to agree to agree. Um,
Yeah.
that is what causes a lot of stress. It's but like it's okay for people to have different opinions than me. I welcome it. I think it's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. Oh my goodness. You know what? This is very fruitful conversation. And I believe that it takes two to tango, right? No matter how one wants to have a stable and peaceful relationship, if the other one is not on the same page, with you, it will not work out. Am I
True.
correct? Am
True.
I correct? Right?
Very
No
correct.
matter how you really want to love this person, if this person is trying to run away from you, don't chase them. Right?
Yeah.
So I would just like, maybe if I'm in that situation, maybe I'll just pause and just like think of myself. This is the best time, right? This is the best time for me to just take care of myself and not mind this person at all. But what can you say about people who are so obsessed with the partner?
Yeah.
What can you just say about
Have you
that?
had those?
Yeah, of
Some people
course.
they're obsessed, right? Some people they're
Yeah.
obsessed with the relationship, not I mean with the person, not really the relationship. And some people
Yeah.
are obsessed with the relationship, not really with the person.
Totally. And so what I've seen that happens there is that there's trauma, there's the loss of expectation and loss of the expected life that they desired, and they're kind of circling the drain trying to figure out how to create that life again. And so what I would say is that it's okay to grieve. It's okay to honor what you lost or the expectation that was lost, and actually give yourself that space and that time to do that, because it's important. If you push it away, if you try to avoid it, which a lot of people do, right? They jump into another relationship, or they put all they make their children their priority, and they don't actually like heal themselves or work on themselves and face the reason why they're having this such difficulty letting this situation or this person go. And if you can just honor that, and you like truly, the moment you just face your fears, you'll notice that they're not as scary as you thought that they were, and then you'll be able to move on. But it's okay for you to grieve, and I see it all the time. And truly, for me, it's not my choice to force somebody, or it's not my role to force somebody to heal. If somebody needs to continue to kind of go through that dynamic over and over again,
Mhm.
I'm just here to support them whenever they're ready to do
Yeah,
the work that I do,
yeah. So what can
That's
you say
awesome.
about like people who are in love with the thought of just being in love?
Yeah. Meet those people all the time.
Right, right.
I'm like, do you really? Well, it's so funny because, like, truly, so all my like when my clients come to me sometimes, so I work with couples and I work with individuals. So my individual clients who are single, they're coming out of an unhealthy relationship, we're healing that part of them so they can get into a new one, and they're so focused on getting into that new relationship. What is that new person going to look like? Blah blah blah. And I was like, you think that's where the work is, but the real work is actually keeping the love, like actually getting in the relationship and dealing with all of your triggers of abandonment, dealing with all of your fears of being hurt again, your fears of losing this connection. Like, that's the real work. That's the real hard part. So I would just say, the grass is not always greener. Take your time, go with the flow. There's a different like phase for all the journeys, and they all require our attention to just be present and just be open. And to me, because God is like the thing, like just have a God or whoever you whatever, something greater than you, that just surrender to that greater thing,
Yeah,
help you get into this relationship.
that's a good one.
Yeah,
Well,
perfect.
I think Burns has a question because you know I'm putting
Why
Burns
do
on
you
the
think I
spot.
have a question?
You have a question?
I'm
I'm
putting
here.
No, I think you still have questions here. I think you still have so many
Okay, so
questions.
my question is, what drives you to help, people, like, what drives you to be a relationship coach? Like, why is that the thing that you want to do?
Thank you. That's a really, really good question. I know, because it's true. I could be any sort of coach, right? Like like being a life. I could just be very general and just be a life coach because I know I have the skills to help people through life. But for me, relationships were such a struggle, and coming from a family system that was really difficult. It was so important to me to validate other people and their experience, to show them that they're seen, to help them through like these trials that they were going through over and over again, and just to help people kind of break up that cycle. So yes, to me, relationship coaching was like the thing, because it was what I was called to do. And not to mention, my master's is in marriage and family therapy. So I just understand the inner workings of the family system, whatever family that is. So it could be a family of 2 people, it could be a person and their dog, it could be a family of 5 or 6, so I just understand how that energy kind of circulates through the system and the dance. And to me, because of kind of what I was explaining in the beginning, the way that I see relationships kind of mirrored in my head, I can kind of see where the cracks are that need to be filled to strengthen the foundation. So, and to me, that just feels like such a gift to give back, because that's what I wish that I had when I was growing up.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
love that.
And I'm sure your clients are very lucky to have you in their
That's really
corner.
sweet. That's really
Well,
sweet. Thank you.
I think her husband is very proud of her.
I'm
Oh,
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
want to make me cry? Like, what is going on? I
No,
know.
Sure.
because can you imagine being in a relationship with someone who's helping other people in terms of feelings, emotions, and keeping the love alive and taking care of each other. So 80% of the time you know what to do, and 20% you're human,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah, sure. I'll take that statistic. That
Yeah.
sounds good.
So yeah, I know, I feel it in my heart. I'm a psychic. Okay, I don't want to finish this episode yet. It feels so good talking to you. I love you already, and
You guys are
you're gonna
awesome.
be. I'm gonna run to you maybe next time with more, and just to enhance whatever relationship that I chose to be in.
Chose, exactly. That's the power word. To me, that's like the power word. You chose it. Even if you chose somebody that you're like, oh, I just want to like hang out. Like, you made that choice. That was your choice. That's your superpower. So to me, that's good. That's empowered.
Right. Okay. So can you give us like at least like 30 seconds or 1 minute of a very good advice to all the people who's watching us right now?
Oh my goodness. Can you give me like a topic that you think would be the most? Because I can't just like throw out advice on the top of my
Yeah.
head.
Okay. Maybe
For
okay. So because we're I'm sure we're already talking.
Maybe for a couple who, like earlier, somebody was texting her anonymously saying, one is not very communicative as
Yeah.
the other. So
Okay.
what is the best advice or best approach would you give them so that they can change that situation?
Okay. So my best advice for a couple. So what I would say to anyone, right? So I think this actually is a really great segue, because we were just talking about the power of choice, and
Mhm.
we get to choose our partners, right? We don't get to choose our family. We get to choose our partners. We get to choose our friends, the people that we interact with. We get to choose our careers. So having that choice actually frees up a lot of space, because it is our choice. And I think we don't trust our intuition enough. I think more people need to trust themselves. You know what you need to do. You already know what you need to do. And so just trusting that inner voice to just be like, okay, well, I'm not getting my needs met. This is not necessarily really what I want. I want something a little bit better, a little bit more expansive, a little bit more connected. And so what does that look like for me? And then I just dare you to dream. Sometimes if you just dream and you just connect yourself more deeply to what you really desire, you'll notice that one of 2 things will happen. You will your partner will start to show up for you in a stronger way, the way that you've desired, or your partner will fall away. So when you're kind of focused, and when you refocus yourself and make yourself a priority within the relationship, within the parameters of the relationship, right? You'll see that there'll have to be a shift, because in all family systems, you can't change the system outside of the system. So I can't change the system from down the street. I have to be inside the house to actually change the way that the system operates. And so if you're here and you're listening to this, then you are going to have to be that spark of change, and that gets to be your voice, and that gets to be your superpower. So
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
love my superpower.
That's
yeah,
beautiful message. I'm
Thank
sure
Yeah,
a
you.
lot of
I
people
really like
appreciate that.
Thank
Well, I
you.
guess if you really own your superpower, like what you said, it's our choice, and we are in control,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
It's good that it's just amazing how God in the universe can actually give us a gift of choices. Like we have the power, yeah, we are in control. So, how about you, Burns? Do you have any advice since we're talking about love and relationship here? I'm sure there's a maybe especially like the LGBTQ community, is there any good advice that you would want to share to a lot of people in terms of maybe how you're able to achieve your successful life right now?
Mm.
Well, I think like for me, like the advice that I would give is um, don't long for the other party to change.
Yes.
Change yourself. Like change me if I want my partner to change.
Yes.
Totally.
Because we can't ask someone to change. It's how we react to that other person. How we are the only person who can change.
Hmm.
You know. So let's start from within ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Amen. That was
Amen.
good.
I really do. And I guess my advice is it not because you're in a relationship, you forget about yourself. Remember, you are still individuals. You
Mm.
have your own, you should have your own time, what however you want to use it for your time,
Yeah.
right? However you wanna you watch Netflix like 34 hours, 34 hours a day with your alone time. Give that to yourself. And
34
Is
hours.
that what you do?
yes, I do. And then, and yeah, do not forget that
Are
you're
you trying to say
individual.
something that you want to watch?
Do not forget that you're individual. Okay. And allow your spouses, your partners to miss you.
Mm.
Be
Hmm.
so clingy, and don't, even if even if you're locked down, you don't have to stay in one room all the time.
Right.
Kick yourself out of the room. Yeah, I think for me, Brittany, is everything that you said is just amazing and very, very important. And
Mm.
Absolutely.
and I mean, just adding the advice that I have right now, you really inspire me.
Aw.
And I just realized that yes, as an individual, you really have to own your time and yourself, honor your time and yourself. Yeah. So
Mm.
I think, guys, you don't really have to be together 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to. But if
You
you
have to
want
have
to,
me time also, like, soak in the tub or something, go for a walk, walk
yeah.
the dogs,
Hmm.
And
get some
also
fresh
don't,
air.
yeah, and then if you want to have time with your partners or with your husband or your wife or spouse, then I think it's okay to ask him like, hey, can you sit beside me and let's eat popcorn while watching TV 34 hours a day? Yeah, I think, like you said, an open communication. I think all you have to do is
It's so funny because I used to not even like watch TV. I thought TV was evil.
Not
oh my God,
anymore, huh? It's your best friend,
that's
huh?
limiting belief.
I
Hey,
didn't, yeah, I never had cable before. I never had that problem. So, you know,
yeah. Well, to each its own. Anyways, thank you so much, Brittany, for being
Thank
here.
you.
I can't
thank
wait
you
to
so
I can't wait
much.
to have I can wait for you to go back again and talk about life and maybe tell your story even more because we're really inspired and being honest with, oh my God, you're just so honest and I
We,
love it.
we should have like a section in the show about relationships where
Yeah, actually,
we actually we actually solicit questions from our viewers and then we answer it on the
I
show.
was thinking
I
about
love
that.
it.
I had my
I'm
mind.
totally down. I'm
Yes,
totally
I think
down.
we're gonna talk to Brittany about that. Maybe 2 weeks from now when she's already stable because she's
Oh,
moving.
she's
Yes,
moving.
I quit packing my whole.
Yes.
Wait, before we end this, I know we're
Promotion.
over
Ask
time.
Rabbit.
Wait, I know we're over time, but Evie said, Evelyn said, quote of the day, TV is evil. Oh my God. And thank you, Cesar. Thank you, Danny, for watching. And thank you, Marian, for watching. Roberto, thank you for. Oh, there's a lot of men watching us today.
Oh, that's cool. I
Yes,
love that.
and thank you, Joel. Thank you. Well, I guess it's time for us to say bye bye, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you, Brittany, for being here. I
Thank
love you.
you.
And hey, guys, another thing.
What?
Do not forget, it is important to have someone who can assist you in reality.
Mhm.
In reality,
Reality.
reality,
Real.
realizing,
Realizing.
opening oneself of a certain issue and degree. So, for those of you who wants to talk to Brittany about um, whatever issues you have,
With
okay,
your relationship,
yeah,
yes.
she's a secret keeper. So you can check her website. Okay, it's there. She's a secret keeper. She won't tell anybody. All right, guys.
Unless it's your partner, then we're not keeping secrets from the couple.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna say bye bye now. I love you guys. Thank you again for watching. Please watch the replay
Bye.
and share this video to all your family members that you would want to be aware of your feelings. I love you. Bye.
Remember,
Bye.
change
Love,
is
bye, love,
evil.
love, light, healing, and abundance.
You guys
Bye.
are too cute. Oh my gosh, I love it.